I'm your host, Joel Perez, and you're watching Wrestling with Politics. Today, we're going to be discussing the bombshell town hall between LA's Mayor Karen Bass and the new president, Donald Trump. And they were discussing the California wildfires. And as we all know, the California wildfires, they caused massive destruction to California and thousands of Californians, thousands of homes. And these fires, they're expected to set California back $150 billion in the rebuilding process. So this fire has caused massive destruction, and you would expect these politicians and these leaders in charge to be taking this situation very seriously. But instead, LA's Mayor Karen Bass, while these fires broke out, even though warnings were doled out days before, she was in Ghana, West Africa, in a foreign country at a cocktail party. And so this exact mismanagement, it goes to show exactly why California was allowed to burn in the way that it did. It's because of the incompetence of politicians like Karen Bass. And unfortunately, California residents, they're still dealing with that incompetence because the victims of this fire, the people who lost their homes in the Los Angeles wildfire, they're not even being allowed to return to their own properties. And so people are fed up with Mayor Karen Bass right now, and that's why over 100,000 people have already signed a petition asking for Karen Bass to be removed from her position. And so it's not just the people who are fed up with LA Mayor Karen Bass, it's also the newest president, Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, he let Karen Bass know right to her face last night in the town hall exactly what he thought. Roll the tape.
But we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You should let them do it, because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can.
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. Yeah. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked, you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
And so there's so much going on here in this clip. At first, LA Mayor Karen Bass, he says that if people want to, that yes, they can go, they can clean up themselves, they can clean up their own properties. But then when the people and Donald Trump explained to the mayor, that who doesn't seem to know this for some reason, that they're not being allowed to access their own properties, they're actively being blocked from accessing their own properties, he tells them that maybe they'll be able to go back in a week or so. So which one is it? Can they go right now, or will they be able to go in a week? She can't answer a question straight here.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important thing is for people to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night.
On that. Right.
Yesterday.
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week, and during the interim, many of us are involved in, and Tom McClintock, who you know has been an expert on this for years.
That's right.
We are going to be putting conditions on the money that do two things: require that it be done timely and affordable, and then secondly, that we protect those who will come afterwards. As we speak, there are 6,000 acres burning in my district on the Mexican border. There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. Little things like
do
water.
that for them.
You know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And by the end of this video, Karen Bass, she looks completely out of place in this room, and she's sitting there with some kind of weird smile on her face, like as if she's the Joker. And at least everybody else in the room, they're trying to take this situation seriously. They're trying to work out some sort of solution here, but she's just sitting here with some bizarre look on her face, like she's some sort of lizard creature. What's wrong with this lady? Then it ends up turning out that the people who lost their homes are gonna have to wait another 18 months just to get a permit to be able to rebuild on their own land. So this entire situation is just a complicated mess, and LA Mayor Karen Bass, she doesn't even seem to have the slightest clue of what's going on here. She doesn't even know what's going on in her own city, and it seems to be news to her in this clip that her own residents can't even access their own properties. So it's no wonder that she's getting called out here. And it just goes to show how useless the Democratic Party and their politicians have become. They literally make Donald Trump sound like the voice of reason here. In this clip, it's Donald Trump who sounds like the advocate for the people, fighting against Karen Bass, who's supposed to be the mayor, whose literal job it is to advocate for the people. But instead, she's not there to advocate for the people. She's there to make the rebuilding process as difficult as possible for thousands of Californians who have already gone through hell. And she's gonna do that by putting miles of red tapes and permits and legislative bullshit in their way. And once again, I just want to reiterate that Karen Bass, she has nothing to be smiling about, because while people's homes were burning, she was in another country. And here's the evidence. According to CBS News, Bass traveled to Ghana to attend the inauguration of the nation's new president on January 4th, one day after the National Weather Service issued a fire weather watch for Los Angeles. She landed on January 5th, one day later, and later that day, the Weather Service issued a red flag warning. So who do you think is the first person that gets told when a fire weather warning is issued out? Newsflash, it's the mayor. And so Karen Bass, she knew before she went out to her trip that a fire was going to break out. But the next day, after the fire weather warning was issued out, she decided to get on a plane anyways and skip town so she wouldn't have to deal with the consequences of the fire like everybody else. A complete disgrace, and it gets even worse. By the time the mayor landed in Los Angeles at around 11 a.m. on January 8th, days later, around 1,000 structures had been burned and more than 70,000 people were under evacuation orders. So the whole time the fire was breaking out, the mayor wasn't even there. And so this is why I've been going so hard on LA Mayor Karen Bass throughout this whole video, because when Los Angeles needed her most, she was nowhere to be found. And it gets even worse, because when she was confronted about this situation, this is what she had to say.
Apology for being absent while their homes were burning. Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
And in that clip, Karen Bass proves exactly what I've been talking about. She proves exactly why she's one of the worst politicians that we've ever seen. And that's why I agree with everybody who signed that petition. Karen Bass should resign. In this clip, she can't even prepare a couple of words. She can't even prepare a statement for the victims of the Los Angeles fire when she's getting confronted here right to her face about where she was. Instead, she just stands there completely ignoring the common folk trying to get an answer out of her for something here. She literally has no explanation, won't even bother try giving one for why she was out of the country while Americans' homes were burning. So as far as I'm concerned, there's a special place in hell for Karen Bass. And this is exactly why the Democratic Party is dying. Because everything they say, it's inauthentic. None of it is genuine. It's all a facade to make your life more complicated. And it's made Californians' lives a living hell. People are over it. And so that's why Donald Trump is able to come into the room and sound like the smartest guy in the room. Because everybody who's been in the room for the past 4 years, especially all of these politicians and all these leaders, they've all been complete idiots. Especially Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Now that's what I think. You can let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And that's all for now. But if you enjoyed what you just heard, and you like what you just saw, you can make sure to hit that like button, share this content, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you want to see more from Wrestling with Politics, you can also check us out on Rumble, and you could hit this other video talking about Donald Trump's inauguration. Thank you so much for watching this video.